Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope your weekend is going as good as mine. I'm going to be honest, I didn't do anything yesterday. I did nothing yesterday. I sat on my couch and I knitted an awful lot. I made a lot of great progress on Adam's Dream Coat, which is a project that many of you know I'm working on for Adam Krigler. I'm really happy with it. I'll be posting some pictures and updates of how that's coming along. But that's not why you guys are here. You guys are here because I don't know. I think I might make live streaming on the weekend like a regular thing. I'm still kind of figuring out the format, but I definitely want to do more live streams in 2021 now that I'm actually home more. And since it's Sunday, we are going to do Mimosas Sunday. So cheers to everyone. I hope that coffee, tea, mimosa, Bloody Mary, whatever you feel like drinking at 1 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday, I raise my glass to you. Cheers. All right. So, guys, we have got a lot to talk about in this live stream. We've got so many articles I want to talk about. I kind of view today's live stream as a little bit of like, let's just laugh at the absurdity of the situation that we're in. Listen, I remember back in 2016 when I was really upset that Donald Trump got elected, and what I decided to do to manage my despair at the situation in which I found myself was I was going to find humor in anything and everything. I was going to find humor in, because let's be honest, the news media gives us more than enough to find humor and to at least have some levity in this crazy situation in which we find ourselves. So we're going to be going through a lot of articles today that I just think are nuts, and I'm going to be doing live reactions to the audio, or to the articles rather. And I'm also going to take your super chats. Of course, I will make sure I read through every single super chat at the end of the stream. But before we get into that, I just want to point out that today's live stream is sponsored by me, or more aptly, my locals community. Now, I want you guys to make sure that, with all the censorship that's going on nowadays, and, people getting banned, and all this crap that's going on big tech and social media, I need a home base that I feel comfortable is not going to be censored, is not going to be taken away from me. And that home base for me is locals. Like, a lot of you guys ask me, like, Carlin, why aren't you on Rumble? Why aren't you on all these other sites? Well, because I'm on locals. All of my videos are backed up on locals. In fact, you can watch all my videos ad free in my locals community. So joining my locals, the information is in the description below. It's kb.locals.com. You can sign up for a free account just to make sure you're in there, and we have a place to go in case something happens. We can still keep in touch. That is completely free. You do get all my videos ad free. But if you want to unlock the full set of features in locals, you do have to chip in a little bit. That's how they keep the trolls out. It is the nicest community on social media. And so it starts at $5 a month. But right now, if you use the promo code free speech, you are going to get a free month off. So that's free speech, all one word. And if you use that by the end of January, you are going to get a free month in my locals community to decide if it's a place that you want to invest in. Of course, everything helps to support my work, and it makes me feel, guys, I cannot thank, I know I have actually got some of my locals members in the chat here today. I really could not do this without them. It really makes it possible for me to spend so much of my time doing this content stuff with you guys, and I'm so incredibly grateful. Now, I do also see that people are complaining. I follow over a dozen YouTube commentators. I'm not paying for each of them that much for each of them a month. Sorry. Well, as I said, and as I have always said, you can join for free. It's like people don't listen to me when I say this. Like, I know I'm being a little punchy right now, but it is really like people don't listen to me when I say this 9 million times from Sunday. You don't need to pay anything to join the community and to see what's going on in the community and to get ad-free videos. All of that is completely free. So, can we stop the complaining, please? Because you have a completely free option. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I have to thank Wild Rose. She says, well, I don't pay each of my YouTube creators. I pick and choose. And apparently I made the cut. Thank you, Wild Rose. But listen, guys, and I am deadly serious when I say it. I greatly appreciate everyone that donates financially through locals, by a membership on YouTube, or by other means. I really, really do. But don't feel like you have to. And I know that locals is actually working on bundling creators to make it more affordable for other people, for folks like you to like follow as many people as you might like. So, if you want to join for free, that's cool. If you want to chip in a little bit, that's cool too. But again, you can try it all the features out for free for a whole month by using that promo code free speech. All right, that is enough shameless pimping. Let me get on my screen what I want to talk about today. Now, I've already posted about this in the chat before I signed up, but here is what happened. Hang on, I'm just getting a little refresh here so I can get the latest update. Here is what happened last night. Oh, hang on, that's not what I want to do. Share screen, application window. Here we go. Here is what happened last night. I'm like going to bed last night. And I am really bad about this. I play on my phone before I go to sleep. I know I shouldn't, but I do. And I saw this tweet from The Hill. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I have demanded the resignations of Senators Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, and Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, along with many others. Now, let's just listen really, really quickly to what AOC had to say. I think the sound should be working. A betrayal. Betrayal. Oh, you guys can't hear it? Hang on. Hang on. That was supposed to work. Hang on. Let me try again. Sorry. Take two. Oh, they said sound is very low. Well, hang on. Take two. We're going to do Chrome tab. AOC. Share audio. That was my fatal flaw. I don't think I clicked share audio. Okay, we're gonna try again. Hang on. I just gotta change a setting on my computer real quick. We're gonna make this work, guys. I promise you it's gonna work. Okay, take two.
What we saw last week was not just a violent coup attempt, but we also saw a dereliction of duty and a betrayal of our country and a betrayal of the oath that we swear. And that is why
betrayal.
I have demanded the resignations of Senators Ted Cruz, Senators Josh Hawley, Republican Minority Leader in the House, Kevin McCarthy, along with many others. Because this is not just about political opinion or partisanship. This was about the abandonment of our sworn oath for what? For personal ambition, for greater loyalty to a base.
I mean, it really is incredible, isn't it? It's really incredible how she has mastered the art of absolute righteous indignation. So I saw this last night and I was laying in bed and I thought, you know what? If all that is required is that someone demand your resignation, and that's all that is required to get a senator to resign or a representative to resign rather, I thought I would like to create a petition demanding AOC's resignation. Oh, I'm not showing it. Hang on. Oh my God. So many technical difficulties today. There it is. There is the petition, folks. So I created this around I don't even know, 11:30 last night on my phone. I didn't even do it properly on a computer. It was the most half-assed petition in the world. And in a matter of around 13 hours, we already have over 3,000 signatures. I'll even update almost 3,100 signatures to get AOC to resign. And so I want to encourage everyone, I really want to get up to 10,000 signatures by Inauguration Day. This is my goal. I want to get 10,000 signatures by Inauguration Day to demand AOC's resignation. Now, is this going to result in AOC's resignation? No. Of course it's not. It is absolutely not going to result in AOC's resignation. That is not the point. The point is that we are going to demand, and it's funny. It is funny. And we need to look for all these opportunities we had to have fun with this situation as we can. Now, remember, like several months ago, there was a petition started. I don't even remember what the petition was for, but it got like 2,500 signatures and it ended up on CNN. Wouldn't it be funny? Like, let's see how many signatures we can get on this petition. Wouldn't it be hilarious if this petition actually made the news in some way, shape, or form just by through the sheer volume of overwhelming signatures? And I'm going to tell you guys this too. So, this petition is on change.org, which, you know, some of you are like, Carlin, why did you use change.org? Well, it was like 11 o'clock at night and it was the first thing that came to mind and I was on my phone and it was easy. But one of the features in change.org is people who are signing the petition can actually pay change.org to promote the petition out across its website. They chip in like $5 or $10 and change.org runs ads for the petition. I'm going to tell you guys what, not only have over 3,100 people signed the petition as of right now, but people have donated over $800 to promote this petition on change.org. Now let's see what the petition says, because this is really like a part of this is like this is the most incredibly half-assed thing ever in the history of petitions, but it's still getting people to sign it. So I don't know what that says. It says on January 16th, 2021, The Hill reported that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had demanded the resignations from Senators Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, and Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, along with many others. If demanding someone's resignation is all that is actually required to get them to resign, we demand that AOC herself should resign. And then I posted an update a little bit later. She's also a white supremacist. Recently, AOC was caught making the infamous white supremacist symbol, the OK sign. This is another reason that she should resign her post. So, guys, I need your help here. I need everyone's help. We are all in this together. I want 10,000 signatures on this petition by Inauguration Day. And I can absolutely do it because we already have 3,000. It's only been like half a day. It hasn't even been 24 hours. And there are over 3,000 signatures. So I feel really confident we can definitely get to 10,000 signatures by Inauguration Day. And who knows how many we can get to. Because we don't have to shut this petition off after a couple days. We can keep this petition going forever. Ad nauseum. Wouldn't it be funny if we got up to 100,000 signatures demanding AOC's resignation? This is the stuff that's going to help us get through the next couple of years. So if you want to sign the petition, the link is in the description below. Please share it out, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it everywhere. This is a team effort. We are all in this together. All right. Okay. Cheers, guys. All right, let's pick, and I'll do updates throughout the live stream about where we are at in terms of signatures. All right, next article. So this is an article that I saw on Vox the other day that I was again, this is another instance of me like looking on my phone while I'm like laying in bed. And I saw this article yesterday and I was like, I need to do a reaction video to this article right here. I need to do a reaction video. White women's role in white supremacy explained. Women at the Capitol are just the latest reminder of a long history. So, do you guys want to see me do a reaction, a live reaction to this article right now? Like, type yes into the chat or Y or whatever. Hit Y in the chat if you want me to do a live reaction to this article right now. We're going to see. You guys are going to vote. If you don't want me to do it, I won't do it. But I will do it if you want me to do it. And I see lots of support for the petition in the chat. Thank you, thank you. Oh, yes, 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 yes. All right. Looks like I'm doing a live reaction to this crazy, crazy Vox article. All right. Now, I haven't read it. I haven't, so I really do have no idea what I'm going to find. This is a true reaction video. Let's get started. It's tempting to think of the storming of the US Capitol on Wednesday as toxic masculinity run amok. A mob of mostly white men carrying guns and wearing animal skins and trying to overthrow democracy on behalf of a president who once bragged about his ability to grab women by the pussy. Now, I want to say that being as I was actually at the Capitol, I actually never thought of it as a mob of mostly white men. In fact, my first reaction to the Capitol was that I thought it was amazing to see all these older ladies there. I thought it was fabulous. Like, these women were just like out, they were like chanting and wanted their voices heard. And I thought the older ladies in particular were fantastic. So clearly, whoever wrote this article wasn't actually at the Capitol or has probably never been to any Trump rally ever, because it has never been a mob of like old white men. That is such a lie. It's even more tempting to embrace this narrative when, in a bizarre statement, that president's campaign secretary described him as the most masculine person, I think, to ever hold the White House. Did Trump's press secretary really say that? That Trump was the most masculine man to ever hold the White House? That's hilarious. But focusing too much on masculinity obscures the critical truth. Many women were either present at the riot or cheering on the insurrectionists from back home. There was Ashley Babbitt, the 35-year-old Air Force veteran and apparent devotee of that crazy conspiracy theory that we're not going to actually name because I'll get demonetized, who was killed during the riot. There was this mother photographed with zip tie guy, Eric, another now believed to be his mother. There was Martha Chansley, the mother of the widely photographed conspiracy theory shaman, who wore a horned hat and carried a spear to Congress. She wasn't present at the riot, but later defended her son in an interview, calling him a great patriot, a veteran, a person who loves this country. Now, of course, they don't talk about all the average people that were there. You know what's really pissing me off about this entire thing is Facebook and Instagram have deleted any posts that I have made showing that most people there were peaceful. Most people there weren't doing anything. Most people were standing around, except for one. I finally got one to stay up the other day. I posted a picture of just tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people from, I was standing on the Capitol lawn, and I'll actually bring it up. I'll show it to you guys real quick, because I think this is important. Hang on. I'll bring it up on my Instagram, assuming they haven't removed it in the half hour since I've... Okay, here it is. So I posted this picture, and this is the only picture that they haven't taken down, which you can see just like thousands and thousands and thousands of people. This was taken on the lawn of the Capitol, and you can see that crowd goes all the way down to the Washington Monument, and that's the only one that they haven't taken down yet. But I digress. What I'm really trying to get at is the media doesn't want you to know that the vast majority of people there were not doing anything. We're perfectly peaceful. And anyone who's ever been to any Trump event at all knows that there's no violence at these things. Now, I'm not one of those people that is out there saying that it was Antifa and BLM and they were the only ones agitating. I'm not saying that because it's not the truth. Okay, watch Elijah Schaefer, Slightly Offensive. He goes through this. He details all the video he has, and he shows you that it wasn't just Antifa and BLM. That is a lie. That is not true. Were they there? 100%. Some of them have already been arrested. Where they were absolutely there, but they were not the only ones agitating. But that doesn't actually negate the fact that hundreds of thousands of people were there and were completely peaceful and weren't doing anything. But they don't want you to see that. And of course, there are the women lawmakers who boosted conspiracy theories and false claims about the election being stolen, including Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a conspiracy theory adherent who railed against Democrats and Black Lives Matter protesters in a speech on the floor last week while wearing a mask reading censored. Does Vox understand that Marjorie Taylor Greene can rail on Democrats and Black Lives Matter and that's not a conspiracy theory? Like, that's real? It's really like they're trying to paint everyone who doesn't like the Democrats or BLM as these crazy, kooky conspiracy theorists. No, dude, Q people are insane. They're insane. I'm so sick of these people. I thought that they were harmless at first, and now I know that they're absolutely not harmless, that they're crazy, and do actually believe that they're in, I don't even know. Like it's so sad what's happened to these people that have gotten so sucked into this crazy conspiracy theory, because they really believe that this is a battle of good versus evil, and they are in this army defending this country, and they're doing crazy stuff because of it. But you can think that that is crazy, and at the same time say the Democrats and BLM are also crazy. Both of those things can actually be true at the same time. Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert, meanwhile, described January 6th as 1776 before the riot began, live tweeting from the House during the attack, including a mention that Speaker Nancy Pelosi had been removed from the chambers, and this week refused to allow police to search her bag after it set off metal detectors inside Congress. During her campaign, she promised to bring a gun with her to the House. Good for her, man. I like both of them. I think both of them are sassy as hell. And then, of course, they've got some images here. Many women were either present at the riot or cheering on the insurrectionists from back home. Oh my God. If we ignore the importance of women in the Capitol riot, we can't understand white supremacy in America. These people are nuts. White women have been a part of white supremacy in America since the very beginning, experts point out, dating back to their roles in slavery. They were at the table when the system was designed, says a history professor at UC Berkeley, author of the book They Were Her Property, White Women as Slave Owners in the American South. They were co-architects of this. So now they're comparing any woman who is not a Democrat to women who own slaves. Do they have any self-awareness to know that Abraham Lincoln was a Republican and it was the Democrats who wanted to keep slavery? I don't think so. That remained true after the Civil War, through the birth and evolution of the Ku Klux Klan, and during the Civil Rights Movement, when white women were some of the most vocal opponents of school integration. It remains true today, where women hold a key role in spreading the crazy conspiracy theory ideology and sustaining white nationalist groups and movements. Like other part of our economy and societies, these movements would collapse without their labor. Sometimes I just read stuff that's so insane that I just have no reaction other than to laugh at it. I'm sorry. And if we ignore the importance of women in the Capitol riot and the groups backed and enabled it, we can't understand white supremacy in America, let alone dismantle it. Try to fight racism in America without looking at white women, Jones Rogers says, is like addressing the right side of the body while the left side is still sick. This all harkens back to like Robin DiAngelo. Robin DiAngelo in White Fragility has a whole chapter titled White Women's Tears. These people hate women. This is ridiculous. They're actually trying to get rid of women. I mean, I just don't understand it. Yeah, someone in the chat says, hang on, I'll get up on the screen. This sounds like Titania McGrath or The Onion. This is not. This is real. A person really wrote this. White women have been part of white supremacy from the beginning. White women's investment in white supremacy is older than the United States itself and goes back to their role in the economy of slavery. Though white women would have been seen by some historians as passive bystanders to the brutalities of slavery, they were, in fact, active participants, as Joan Rogers explains in They Were Her Property. Before the Civil War, white women had little economic and political power, with one big exception. They could buy and sell enslaved people. Well, in theory, they could do that if they had the permission and support of their husbands. Women in this country couldn't even get a credit card until like the back half of like the 20th century, man. Like, what are they talking about? They had to have the support of their husband in order to do anything. Or their parents, I suppose. And they did so using enslaved people as a way of building up wealth so they could not simply be transferred to a husband in marriage. What evidence do they have to back this up? This is absurd. Slavery gave white women freedom, autonomy, and agency that they could not exercise in their lives without it, so they were deeply invested in it. These people are just making up history. This is like the 1619 Project. This is not real. Dude, I studied the Civil War. This is not real. Oh my God. And after the Civil War, white women didn't simply give up on white supremacy. Instead, as Jones Rogers put it, they doubled down. For many, that meant becoming active participants in the KKK. At one point had 1.5 million female members. Now let's just back up for a second. The Anti-Defamation League today estimates that there are about 3,000 total members of the KKK. So let's just keep that in mind when we're talking about 1.5 million women in the KKK. These are completely different times. What happened in the early 1900s does not bear resemblance to what is happening today, Vox. Some women took leadership roles like Elizabeth Tyler, who helped revive the Klan in the 1910s and became its most important propagandist, according to Darby. Women became oh my God. These people are really trying to make you think that any woman who was in DC on January 6th is a member of the Klan. All right. Women became especially important in the Klan once they gained the right to vote. After that, white men began to see their wives, daughters, sisters, and other women in their lives as potential allies in the effort. Dude. Women got the right to vote in what, 1920? Do you really think that men in 1920 saw women as allies in the way that they mean it today? No. The answer is no. They saw the women in their lives as potential allies in the efforts to politicize white supremacy. They began to see them as a voting bloc. Most women didn't want to vote. That is a fact. That is a historical fact. Most women at that time did not even want the right to vote because it came with like other obligations. Those images are crazy, man. That's crazy. Crazy in that, like, it disturbs me to see these images. Like, that's the I mean, and again, the fact that they're showing these images of women in the Klan right alongside women who are at a freaking rally under an American flag, wearing an American flag. Yeah, that's absolutely the are they actually saying that the American flag is a Klan robe? Is that the implication that, like, am I drawing too much? Is that an implication that they're actually making here? I think it probably is. And it wasn't just because of organizations like the Klan that white women invested in institutional racism. They also played a core role in lynching by making false allegations of sexual harassment or assault, which were then used as a pretext to murder black men. Well, that actually there is some truth to that, actually. And they were key players in the fight against the integration in the schools, with white women using their role as mothers to legitimize the victimization of black children. And again, like, the language they're using, it makes it seem like all white women were doing this, which is, of course, fundamentally not true. Indeed, throughout the 20th century, though white women could no longer profit from slavery, they were still deriving real benefits from white supremacy, namely a sense of social and political power in a world still dominated by white men. Through lynchings, your words have the power of life and death over an African American descended man. Your vote could secure a place in state in the government for white supremacy. This is crazy. I'm just going to see how long this article is. Okay, we got a couple more paragraphs. That's fine. In essence, through white supremacy, white women came to understand themselves as individuals who could wield a certain kind of power these men have to respect. So they're actually arguing that white supremacy is the only reason that women had power. Does anyone else think that this is like, does anyone else see how absurd this argument is, that white supremacy is literally the only thing that gave women power? This is crazy. And that dynamic continued into the 21st century. The landscape of white supremacy has changed, with the Klan no longer being a major player, though it still exists. Today, white nationalism is less about specific groups and more about an ideology that people subscribe to from the comfort of their own desks. Okay, here's how they make the transition between, yeah, we're going to acknowledge that there really aren't that many people in the Klan now, but that doesn't really matter because we have Trump supporters to blame everything on. Because of that, it's hard to measure exactly how many women were involved in white nationalism. It's easier to measure attitudes. Overall, about 20% of white Americans of all genders feel a sense of discontent over the status of white people in society, Darby writes, and Sisters in Hate, drawing in the work of political scientist Ashley Jardina. And white women are actually, how are they defining discontent? They feel a sense of discontent. How are they even defining this? That's completely vague. It doesn't mean anything. And the women are actually more likely than white men to hold exclusionary views about what it means to be an American, preferring boundaries around the nation's identity that maintain it in their image. Okay, I want to see the research that backs that up. Of course, they haven't cited that there. And while this may not always be in front of rallies or riots, women remain important recruiters and propagandists. I bet they would define me as a propagandist. You guys think that they would type Y in the chat if you think that they would define me as a propagandist? What do you think? Am I a white woman nationalist propagandist in the eyes of Vox? Adrian says what? No, there go all the Y's. Jay says Y plus. I think so too. Guys, if you think I would be considered a white woman propagandist according to Vox.com, this is a good time to hit the like button to show your support for my Sunday afternoon mimosa propaganda. So hit that like button if you please and thank you. All right. Erica Alduno, for example, had a key role in organizing the infamous Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. She was one of the... Okay, so I want to make a point, and I didn't support the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. I thought that was nonsense, to be really honest. But let's just make a point. They're trying to say that white women have a role in organizing these things today. Well, at the same time, they try to make the argument that the right systematically keeps women down and oppresses them. So you have to choose one box. Are women oppressed by the right, or is the right putting them into leadership positions? You have to choose one. You can't choose both, man. You have to choose one. Are they oppressed or are they leaders? Pick. She was the one directing traffic on messaging apps and answering mundane but important questions like whether there would be a shuttle bus to the rally. She did not speak at the event, but that's not the point. Darby says, whether women are seen or not seen, they are important actors in the space. Women have also been central to organizing pro-Trump events. Oh, here we go. We just made the leap, folks. We made the leap from the Klan to white nationalists to Trump. Look how they did that. It was like so seamless. Women have also been central to organizing pro-Trump events that spread false information that the election was stolen. The group Women for America First organized a term I'm not going to say because I might get demonetized, for thousands in November, and also received a permit for the rally at the Capitol on January 6th, according to the Washington Post. And yeah, I mean, Women for America, like Kylie Kramer is the one that headed up the rally. She's annoying as shit. But a white supremacist, she is not. Annoying, yes. White supremacist, no. Meanwhile, women have taken an even more visible role in the rise of the crazy conspiracy theory, an ideology that began with conspiracy theories about Trump battling a cabal of liberals involved in child sex trafficking. Blah, blah, blah. Conspiracy stuff. I'm not going to read that. We all know that is crazy. Meanwhile, Ashley Babbitt, the woman who was killed by the police at the Capitol riot and had been posting conspiracy-related content on social media for nearly a year prior to the insurrection, according to The Guardian. The day before the riot, she tweeted a defiant message full of slogans. Nothing will stop us. They can try and try, but the storm is here. It is descending on DC in less than 24 hours. Dark to light. Yes. Okay. Can we all agree, or most of us agree, that people involved in this particular movement have lost grip with reality in the same way that people on the left have Trump derangement syndrome and are not existing in reality? People on the right that got sucked into this conspiracy theory are also not existing in reality. And both of those two things can be true at the same time. And yet, this woman who's holding a stand with Trump sign, there is no indication that she is part of the conspiracy theory. This woman wearing an American flag and giving a peace symbol, there is no evidence that she is part of any sort of conspiracy theory. What they're trying to do is talk about the conspiracy theory and then put photos of like average white women that aren't doing anything wrong, that are holding up a sign and giving a peace symbol and saying they must be evil conspiracy theorists too. Look, they look just like you. They look like normal women. They look like normal women, but they are all crazy and they're all white supremacists because they support Donald Trump. Despite the participation of Babbitt and others, there's been a tendency to view the riot as largely male-dominated and indeed to erase the presence of women in white supremacy throughout history. Well, kind of like the left wanting to erase the presence of women in everything, including women in sports, as it turns out. There has been a tendency from colonial periods to the present to position white women as perpetual victims in spite of the evidence to the contrary, Jones Rogers said, but ignoring the fact that women have long been perpetrators of white supremacy up to and including violence will hamper any effort to truly fight it. When we discount those women and the often violent and brutal roles that these women play, Jones Rogers said, we neglect and we negate the impact of their activities have on their victims. If, by contrast, we as a society can reckon with the way that white women have been not just beneficiaries, but designers of the system of white supremacy, she said, we will be better able to dismantle the systems and to address the ways in which the system has really pervaded all of our lives. First, they came after white men. Now they're coming after the ladies. Such as it is. So what did you guys think of that article? Chat in. Was that some crazy shit or what? I'm sorry. Vox is crazy. I actually have another article pulled up here from Vox. I have this one. Trump's Twitter and Facebook bans are working, in which what they talk about is since Trump got banned, here I'll find the headline here. I won't read the whole thing. According to Signal Labs, which the Washington Post reported on Saturday, online misinformation around election fraud plunged 73% in the week-long period following Twitter's decision to ban Trump on January 8th. Yes, when you ban mass quantities of people for expressing a dissident opinion, that tends to suppress people expressing that dissident opinion, as it turns out. Oh my, shocking revelation, Vox. All right. But this is not the only crazy article that I found for our enjoyment today. How about this one? Professor, all Republicans are guilty of Capitol attack, should be forced to shut the hell up. A University of Louisville professor wrote that Republicans should shut up about the Capitol Hill attack unless they denounce their former support for Donald Trump. Now, I bring this one up because some of you know this story. So one of the first times that I got canceled by my old friends, I didn't even realize that I got canceled because it was like all of a sudden one day, all of my white friends, and they were all white, all of them started telling me all at the same time, Carlin, you need to shut up and listen to Black people. And I was so naive about what was going on. I was like, but if you shut up, you can't ask questions. And if someone can't ask questions, then their minds can't be changed. They have to have a dialogue. They were like, no, you need to shut up and listen to Black people. Yeah, dude, Flowers in Her Hair says this is mass lunacy like the Salem witch trials. Dude, you're not wrong. You are not wrong about that. It is very similar to the lunacy that took place at the Salem witch trials. Let's see what's going on with this professor. This is from Campus Reform. University of Louisville professor Ricky Jones wrote in an op-ed that Republicans should be forced to shut the hell up about the Capitol attack unless they denounce their former support of President Donald Trump. Republicans You should not be allowed to speak about being shocked by President Donald Trump or the recent right-wing raid in Washington, D.C. For your words ring hollow, said Jones, who is the chair of the Pan-African Studies Department. You should all be forced to shut the hell up unless whatever you have to say begins with, I'm sorry. You should not be allowed to condemn Trump or attempt to distance yourselves from him unless you begin with, I have helped him and I'm sorry. Guys, this is what demanding that you bend the knee looks like. And anyone who ever demands that you do anything, you need to tell them to go screw. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like someone like this says, shut the hell up unless you do exactly what I tell you to do. You need to tell them to go screw. Do not give them 1 ounce of power over you. Because of their support for their Lord and Savior Donald Trump, Jones demanded the Republicans admit their support and apologize. You should all apologize because you are all guilty. Okay. It's really strange to me how everyone on the left seems to think that everyone who voted for Donald Trump worships him like a god. Yes, there are jokes about him being God Emperor, and Lord knows I posted a meme or two just to piss my friends off. But like this whole idea that Donald Trump is worshipped like a god, we rag on Trump all the time. All the time. Trump is the most self-deprecating person on the planet. After quoting University of Connecticut professor Jeffrey Ogbar's assertion that Trump is a pathological liar who assembled a collection of unqualified, corrupt, and odious characters into his administration, Jones adds that Trump is a liar, racist, demagogue, and madman. But you Republicans, you so-called conservatives, you were just fine with it, he commented. You loved it all. Yes, you loved him deeply, supported him unfailingly, demonized anyone who opposed him, and rode shotgun with that maniac for the last 4 years. Don't stop now. Keep riding. Well, don't worry, darling. I am definitely going to keep riding. I'll tell you that right now. I haven't given up on Trump. I think Trump is awesome. I can't wait to see what Trump does out of office. I think it's going to be entertaining as hell. I think Trump is actually going to be more effective out of office than he was in office. And that doesn't mean I think he's a god. Trump is certainly not a god. He is certainly not infallible. But he's entertaining as hell, and at least you know most of the time you're getting the truth with him. He actually doesn't lie all that much. Sometimes he does, but not really all that often. All right, let me see. Jones blamed Republicans for gaslighting those racist neo-Confederate foot soldiers for years. You are their benefactors. You are their champions, he said. You are their friends. Their acts are your responsibility and your shame. So, guys, is anyone in the chat willing to apologize for their complicity with Donald Trump? Who's willing to apologize for their complicity with Donald Trump today? Who's willing to apologize? I'm just curious. No. In fact, I mean, polls from Rasmussen appear to show that Trump's approval rating is actually going up. It's actually going up after all of this, which I just think is the best. Like, this is, you know what's so funny about this is the left had this perfect moment where they really, I mean, honest to God, like the Capitol was bad, man. And how it was portrayed in the press, it was really, really bad. And they had like a perfect moment to really capitalize on that. And then what did they do? They overplayed their hand. They started censoring everything on the internet. And then all of a sudden we were like, go screw. We're not budging on this. So crazy. Yeah, Ken says, I apologize for not telling the left to F off sooner. Exactly. And guys, it's really scary what's going on in the Capitol. I have just a couple more things here to show you, and then I'm going to take your super chats. It is really scary what's going on in the Capitol. Look at this from Kyle Becker on Twitter. This is what the Capitol looks like. And this fencing is even, I think, being taken down. This razor wire fencing is being taken down and replaced with even higher fencing as we speak. Look at this crap. Look at this. This is the United States Capitol. That's crazy. This is one of the most profoundly disturbing things I've ever seen. And I tweeted that out yesterday. I said, excuse me, is anyone profoundly disturbed by these pictures? And Christian Watson, who everyone should be following, Christian Watson, honestly, he's been on this channel before. He's an incredibly smart young man. He said, I'm profoundly disturbed by this. But I remember an old adage from one of my favorite films, V for Vendetta. The people shouldn't be afraid of their government. The government should be afraid of their people. And when the government is afraid of its people and it resorts to this, it wants control. Okay, does anyone else, I'm going to bring back those pictures for a second. Does anyone in the chat find it a little bit strange that Joe Biden was elected with 80 million votes, the most of any presidential candidate in history, and for his inauguration, they're so overwhelmed with Joe Biden's popularity that they are militarizing the entire city, that they are shutting down bridges into Washington, D.C. from Virginia and Maryland, that whole hotel chains and Airbnb is canceling all reservations. They are militarizing the city for someone who was elected with the most votes in history. You know, one of the reasons I want to get 10,000 signatures on my petition for AOC. Let me just bring that back up. Oh, I guess I took it off my screen. Well, one of the reasons I want to get my 10,000 signatures on my petition for AOC to resign is there's going to be less people than that at Joe Biden's inauguration, not counting the people who are forced to be there. I mean, what a sign is that Joe Biden can't even get a couple thousand people to voluntarily come to his own inauguration when he was supposedly elected with the most votes of any president in history? Yeah, okay. I've got a bridge to sell you if you believe that. But speaking of the petition, guys, if you have not yet signed the petition to have AOC resign, you want to do that. It's in the description below. This is just for fun, but we're going to do it anyway. And let me just get you an update. Ooh, we have 3,368 signatures on the petition for AOC to resign. The goal is 10,000 signatures by Inauguration Day. Cheers to that. But it makes me so sad, honestly. Washington, D.C. was making me sad anyway. I'd been there several times in the last couple months. Before all this and COVID and everything, Washington, D.C. was legitimately one of my favorite places to travel to in the world. I loved it there. I like all the different things you can do. I like that it's a good walking city. I like that there's good food there. There's good things all the museums and stuff. I loved traveling to Washington, D.C. And now it's like a ghost town. And it was like a ghost town before all this. And now it's basically being completely militarized. This is sad. And this should freak out anyone. This is not the way our government was designed, to be these elite idiots who are sitting on the hill telling all the peons what to do. This is not the way it should be. That is the people's house. That is the people's house. We pay for all of this. And you can tell their attitude about the average American person is they want nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you at all. But don't worry about that because, it's just because you might think this is an Orwellian reality. USA Today confirms that, if you think this is all a little Orwellian, don't worry. It's just because you don't know the definition for the term Orwellian. We just watched last night in my house. We watched the movie 1984, which I've seen like a million times, and I've read the book a whole ton. And I have the audiobook, and it's all really good. But we watched the movie last night, and it was really apropos to wake up this morning and this be one of the first articles. You may be using the term Orwellian wrong. Here's what George Orwell was actually writing about. Let's see from USA Today what George Orwell was actually writing about. Chances are you've seen George Orwell's name thrown around a lot in the past week on social media, either by conservatives invoking his name with sincerity or by liberals poking fun at conservatives for its Misuse. Misuse. Okay, USA Today. I see you, USA Today. On Friday, when Twitter permanently suspended President Donald Trump's account, his son, Donald Trump Jr., was quick to invoke George Orwell. "We are living in Orwell's 1984, he tweeted. "Free speech no longer exists in America. It died with big tech. And what's left is only there for a chosen few." When Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri lost his book deal with Simon & Schuster after Wednesday's Capitol Hill riot, and his widely perceived role in helping incite the... Oh, now we're saying Josh Hawley incited the riot, are we? Had Josh Hawley even spoken that day? Okay, USA Today. He had some words for what he called the woke mob at his would-be publisher. "This cannot be more Orwellian," he tweeted in a statement. Cheeky Twitter users have been quick to criticize the invocation of Orwell from people who, like many of us, probably haven't dusted off a copy of 1984 since high school. No. I have dusted off 1984 since high school. I have read 1984 probably twice in the last year at least, and watched the movie and thought about it extensively. So no. My copy of 1984 does not have dust on it in any way, shape, or form. As we all remember, Orwell's 1984 is about an old man who gets banned from a bird-themed social media site after regularly encouraging violence, tweeted progressive think tank Crevel Institute. This is what they actually think. Oh my God. Do you find it at all funny that after admitting that they probably haven't dusted off a copy of 1984 since high school, those very people who haven't read the book recently are also the very best to define it? Okay. My son just described having to clean his room as positively Orwellian. That's actually funny. That is funny. That's a smart kid. 1984 rose to the top of Amazon's top-selling book list over the weekend. On Monday, it reached the #1 spot. Not too bad for a book published in 1949. Too bad few people citing the book's dystopian horrors in earnest seem to understand its uses. Now, you'll notice at this point, USA Today has not actually talked about the definition of it. We're like, what, 4 or 5 paragraphs into this? More. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're 8 paragraphs into this article, and they still haven't actually clarified what they believe is wrong in the usage, which tells you something. It tells you that they know that people are only going to read the headline. They're only going to read this headline. And then they're going to say, silly conservatives and their misuse of terms. And they're not actually going to read the article. And USA Today knows this, which is why they have not defined yet how the term is being used and correct in the article. But let's see. It seems like we might be getting to it. The term Orwellian has been lazy shorthand for exercises of authority with which one disagrees. No, that's not how most people are using it. No. When a publisher drops your book because your brand has become toxic, it's Orwellian. When an internet platform enforces its terms of service and kicks you off, it's Orwellian. When a store has you removed from the premises for refusing to wear a mask during a pandemic, it's Orwellian. No, that's not actually how we're using the term USA Today, but thank you for trying. It tends to be a catch-all for repression, says David, associate professor of English at USC and former book editor of the Los Angeles Times. He has read and studied Orwell's works extensively and finds Hawley and Trump's Orwell name-checking not just inaccurate, but ironic. Well, I wonder how David voted. That's a real irony in the fact that someone who paid such attention to clarity in language, Orwell's whole thing was about transparency in language, and language needed to be absolutely clear, like a pane of glass that a writer likes that becomes a rhetorical tool for people. Wait. I think this sentence is really not properly written. Hang on. Which is ironic given it's a sentence that is about clarity, but let me just try this again. Orwell's whole thing was about transparency in language. That language needed to be absolutely clear like a pane of glass. That a writer like that becomes a rhetorical... Yeah, this is a really poorly worded sentence. That's just what it is. That a writer like that becomes a rhetorical tool for people who would have been at a point of his lance. I don't even know what that means. It's actually almost counter-Orwellian says a practicing psychotherapist with a master's degree in creative writing whose critical thesis was on Orwell and how. Why are you a psychotherapist if your creative writing thesis was on Orwell? Dude, a practicing psychotherapist with a master's degree in creative writing whose critical thesis was on Orwell. Is that a psychotherapist that you would want to see? Someone who wrote their creative writing thesis on. Okay, I digress. That's ridiculous, though. In fact, Donald Trump's. Oh! Here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, no, no, no. Conservatives are the ones that are actually being authoritarian. In fact, Donald Trump Jr.'s tweet is Orwellian because he is using language as a way to control people's opinions about something that's happening in his favor. That's propaganda. There it is. Orwellian is probably the most widely used adjective derived from a name of a writer. Kafkaesque might be come close. Yet, so many are using it wrong. It helps first to understand who Orwell was and the deeply political motivations that fueled his writing. Orwell hated fascists so much that he went to war with them. Are they actually going to argue that George Orwell is Antifa? Is that actually what they're about to argue here? I think it is. I wasn't even going to read this whole article, but now that they're about to argue that George Orwell is Antifa, I feel like we need to persevere. I feel like we need to get through this together. Every line of serious work that I have written since 1936 has been written directly or indirectly against totalitarianism and for democratic socialism, as I understand it, Orwell wrote in his 1946 essay handily titled, Why I Write. Yes, George Orwell would be on the side of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's what this article is saying. That was the year Orwell joined a leftist militia to fight in the Spanish Civil War against fascist Francisco Franco's military uprising in Spain. Author Eric Arthur Blair, Orwell was his pen name, was... Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to read all of this. This is ridiculous. I don't think they're actually going to make any coherent arguments. Okay, hang on. Let's read this section right here. So what's 1984 actually about, and what makes a thing Orwellian? Newspeak, doublethink, thought crime, Big Brother. 1984 is reduced to its base components, the catchphrases and slogans of a fictional government in Orwell's dystopian allegory for Soviet totalitarianism. The takeaway is often oppression bad, liberty good. But Orwell's book is much more sophisticated. Oh, so the takeaway of oppression bad, liberty good is not good enough. What they're saying, like, no. Orwell wasn't saying liberty was good. Come on, you silly conservatives. That's not what he was saying. But Orwell's book is much more sophisticated. Orwell was interested not just in communicating the badness of totalitarian regimes, but also dissecting how they succeed through the manipulation of language. He was really most concerned with language and how language was used in a propaganda type of way or as a means of control. Orwell observed that totalitarian governments, whatever their ideologies, cannot simply impose their wills. They must indoctrinate. Their success requires complicity. He's really sharp on the ways in which people get indoctrinated. How much you want to bet that before this article is over, and I haven't read this, how much you want to bet that before this article is over, they're going to talk about Trump indoctrinating his supporters? How much you want to bet? Who wants to bet that's going to happen? Type Y into the chat if you bet that's going to happen, and I will have a drink. Adrian's always in first with the Y's. Hang on, guys. I need to blow my nose real quick. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry if that came through on the microphone. I'm so sorry. Blame the mimosa. Blame the mimosa if that came through on the microphone. It's the mimosa's fault. All right, let's see. Okay. Which brings us to the term Orwellian. If Holly's book deal getting canceled and Trump getting booted from Twitter isn't Orwellian, what is? Orwellian in the most orthodox way is about language as a means of control. A Nazi propagandist, says Lenny, I'm not pronouncing that name. That would be very Orwellian because that's somebody using words to invoke feelings, to invoke allegiances, to discredit enemies. Orwellian is not just applicable to the fascists and communists of Orwell's era. This guy believes 1984 is relevant to our political moment. Oh, here it comes! Here it comes, guys! Here it comes! There are aspects of the novel that are quite reminiscent, interestingly enough, of Trumpism. Who could have seen that coming 3 miles away? Even though Trump's right-wing, things like the dissemination of false information, the use of information to obfuscate rather than illuminate. He also sees shades of 1984 in social media. In the book, Orwell invents 2 minutes hate, a daily activity in which video of the enemy is publicly screened, and the audience is encouraged to... They're saying that that's cute? Dude. Okay, let me finish this paragraph, and then I'm going to go on a little rant, okay? The 2-minute hate, that kinds of reminds me of what we're seeing in terms of social media mob mentality and this extreme conspiracy theory working on people's most negative, virulent emotions and using that as a way to control them, but also to make them feel as though they are being heard. Dude, listen, Q people may be crazy. They may live in an alternate reality. But they're not doing 2 minutes of hate every day. That's what the left is doing. That's what the media and CNN and MSNBC and everyone on the left does to the left every single day is it stirs them up in a mob of outrage. People on the right are so much happier than people on the left because people on the left are addicted to outrage. To say that they're doing 2-minute hate on the right, that's absurd. That is one of the most absurd things I've ever heard. Then they have some other stuff you should read by Orwell, and that's basically it. So now, guys, now you know that every time you are using the term Orwellian, USA Today thinks that you're using it wrong. Yeah, Atticus, a fellow IO psychologist, says, I see no signs of what the left has accused them of. Yeah, no kidding. Well, guys, I do actually have one more article, but I think I'm probably going to do a separate video on this because it doesn't relate to the Capitol. I just thought it was funny. So here is the other article that, oh God. Here's the other article that I was going to do as a video, but maybe I'll just give you a little preview. Historian Dr. Ibram X. Kendi to produce 3 Netflix projects based on his anti-racism books. And one of them is going to be an animated series for children based on how to be an anti-racist baby or some such nonsense. So you guys can look forward to that video this week. I am losing my voice though, so I'm not going to do that one right now. This is just kind of crazy content. And I think I'm actually going to try, speaking of Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, I think that I'm actually going to try to read How to Be an Anti-Racist this week. And I will be destroying it on Twitter. If you want to follow along with that, please make sure you are following me on Twitter. I am Dr. Carlin B on Twitter. I know a lot of you have left Twitter. I don't think you should. I think it is a cowardly move, but that's where you can find me on there. Let's see. All right, guys, we are going to do some super chats. And I will be answering all the super chats. But right now, guys, listen, if you could help me out by hitting that like button, that would be awesome. Also, I just want to remind you before we get into super chats that if you want to support my work, one of the things you can do is to join my Locals community. My Locals community is a completely independent platform. It is social media for adults. It is one of the best places on the internet, honestly, because they keep all the trolls out. It is completely free to join my Locals community. It is completely free. You go to kb.locals.com and you can join there. However, and when you join on there for free, you do get access to all of my videos completely ad-free, so you don't have to suffer through any annoying YouTube ads. However, if you want to unlock all of the features on Locals, you do have to chip in a little bit. This is how they keep the trolls out. It starts at $5 a month, same as my membership on YouTube, but $5 a month. I strongly prefer you join my locals over my YouTube because I feel much more safe that I'm not going to be deplatformed there. And if you want to try it out, you can just head over there today and use the promo code free speech, all one word, free speech, and that's going to give you a free month of access so you can try it out and find out if it's right for you. But I definitely appreciate you joining my locals community. If you're not ready to do that, I would ask that, guys, you just got to make sure that we have a way to keep in touch somehow. Of course, like I'm not planning on going anywhere off of social media, but sometimes that's not my choice. So if you want to get on my mailing list to keep in touch with me, you want to head over to drcarlin.com, and there's an email sign up right on the homepage of the website. That puts you on an email list. I am not currently doing anything with that email list. I'm really not. So it's just a way for me to have a way to communicate with you guys in case I get banned off things. So just go over, put your email in the thing. It goes on the list. I'm not going to sell your information. I'm not even emailing it to it right now. It's just a nice little backup just in case. All right. Let me get this down off my screen. Let's do an update, shall we, on where we are with the AOC petition. Oh, we are 3,453. That means, guys, in the time that I have been on the air, we have gotten over 400 new signatures on the petition. So cheers to that. All right. Let me do some super chats. I just need to get situated right here. All right. We're going to start at the start, which is a very good place to start. Cyrus Cherry says, Doc, it just occurred to me that Snow White hasn't been demonetized yet. What's the hold? Crazy times. Love your work. Cyrus, I am sure that we are going to get there someday. I am absolutely positive that we'll get there. Thunderstorm says, National Soviet, feudal, fascist, global, democratic socialism seems to hate free speech. Makes me furious, spelled like Fiora. Yes, I agree with that. Cyrus Cherry says, how can a House rep demand a senator be removed? She's out of her league. Originally, the House was seen as lesser men. The media got her big-headed. I mean, listen, anyone can demand that anyone resign. We're demanding that AOC resign with our petition, right? That's literally what we're doing. That doesn't mean it actually has any weight. AOC's demand for Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and Kevin McCarthy to resign doesn't mean any more than if you or I demanded they resign, which is why I started the petition in the first place. Guys, if you haven't signed the petition yet, it is in the description below. So make sure you sign it before you leave today. Let's see. Alexander DeJohn says, I'm ashamed to be from the same state as her. Dude, I'm ashamed that I went to the same school as her. AOC and I both went to BU. Nick Fuentes also went to BU. I don't know what that says about us or what it says about Boston University, but yeah, I went to the same school as both AOC and Nick Fuentes, and I don't really like either of them. So I don't know what that says. Cheers. You guys notice I do not have my giant wine glass today, but I do still have a pretty large one. And we have a lot of mimosa left to go. All right, let's see. Elizabeth Goat says, if there was a violent coup, we wouldn't have a ruling class right now. The left and sleeping moderates has no idea what a coup is. That is exactly right. They're making up language. They're changing definitions. That's what they do. Thunderstorm says, as a 6-foot blue-eyed white guy, thank you leftists for claiming I'm superior. It's a bit much, but thanks for the compliment. You know what, dude? As long as you feel good about yourself, that's really all that matters at the end of the day. Ashley Clare says, AOC is an idiot. She doesn't realize that people are leaving New York and going down south. She doesn't have a clue. She needs a reality check. Yup, I definitely agree with that. Colleen says, Ilhan Omar needs to resign because of her immigration fraud, millions of her new husband's company, and the voting fraud in her campaign. Listen, we can't demand everyone resign all at once. We have to focus our efforts on the most evil person in the room. And at this point, that's AOC. Okay? Got to do one at a time. If we actually make any headway here, we will move on. Of course, she's not going to resign because of a petition. But again, it's for fun, guys. It's funny, okay? Jeff Horton says, when will someone in Congress address the big tech censorship? Your thoughts? Is there any law to prevent the slander and insults of the white race in Congress? I don't think Congress is going to do anything for the next couple years. Democrats control everything. Why would they do something? Like, I don't think anything's going to happen for the next couple years. I think the next couple years are going to suck. And guys, that's why it's so important to join communities like Locals, because they're specifically built to be insulated from the big tech censorship. Okay, that's why it's so important to be there. That's not to say that I think you should leave places like Twitter, because I don't think you should leave places like Twitter, but you have to make sure you're set up on alternative platforms. I'm on Gab, I'm on Minds. Parler looks like something's going on. Parler has a homepage back up right now, so I am on there when it comes back online. I'm on CloutHub, I'm on MeWe, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. I think that's it. I don't know. Maybe there's some others, but those are the main ones I'm on. Buddy Christ says it's Babylon Bee. Wait, no, it's Vox. Same thing. Dude, Babylon Bee is way funnier than Vox. Come on. Vexel Turning says, how is this real life? Dude, truly, I have no idea how this is real life. I really don't. Alex Aleo says, I love how much they hate slavery and still think it was a major point in CEUSA. I have no issue with literally bringing it back in the Middle East. Okay. Elizabeth Goat says, these Klan women are all Democrats, by the way. Yeah, of course they were all Democrats. Of course. Dragonwater says, how do we trust racists to tell us how racist they supposedly are? Yep. Vexel Turning says, oh, this is a saucy question. Carlin, would you ever go on Timcast IRL? I think the likelihood of me ever being invited on there and actually having them follow through, because I've actually been invited twice and they canceled both times. But I think the chances of me actually being invited on there again are 0. So I don't actually think it really matters what I would do. I mean, my inclination, to be honest, would be no, simply because I find that whole situation to be just toxic. There's something off about it, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Like, there's something off about it, and I just I don't know, man. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't feel like it's a situation I want to go towards, and I don't know. So probably not, but I don't really think I would be invited anyway. So, it is what it is. You guys will have to catch me another on Adamcast. I'm on Adamcast like every single week, so watch me on Adam. Wild Rose, thank you for the sticker. Vexel Turning says, Carlin, create a Streamlabs for donation, please. You'll likely get much higher percentage. Dude, I can only do so many things at once, to be honest. And Streamlabs is not the thing that I'm focused on right now. I have a lot of other things to focus on. So this is just going to be the way it is. If you want to donate to me directly, my PayPal information is in the description below. So you can do that. You can donate through Locals. All those are options. But I'm not going to screw around with Streamlabs right this second. Dragonwater says, I could call Trump a god in the sense of the Greek gods. I mean, I do that too, but I'm joking. I don't know. I don't think Trump's a god. Dragonwater says, I apologize for ever believing the left was anything but authoritarian fascist. I mean, I don't think they always were. I don't. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of you are going to disagree. I don't think that they always were. So, I think times change, and they certainly are now. I also think a lot of people, though, they don't realize it. They really don't. A lot of people on the left are just as brainwashed. They're victims of the situation as much as anyone else. I don't believe they understand fully what they're doing. All right. Change.org has a petition for Josh Hawley's resignation that it sent me to right after I signed yours. Well, I hope you didn't sign that one. In 1984, I lived in 1984, communist Orwellian regime, a bit of Kafka. For me, 1984 ended in 1989 with Velvet Revolution. Never ever 1984. Dragon Water says, oh God, super chat jump rather. Dragon Water says, man, Orwell article writer is projecting hard. Isn't that the truth? That is the truth. The Guy Rascal says, in the introduction, Orwell explicitly stated that 1984 is anti-Stalinist. He did, didn't he? As it turns out. Cheers to that. Let's see. Enigma says, I live in the district next to AOC's, moving out of New York soon. Also, stay on Twitter, but don't use it. It actually hurts them more if your account is inactive. Ooh, pro tip, Enigma. Thank you. Dragonwater says, can we force stupidity to resign? No. Sadly, we cannot force stupidity to resign. Ashley Clare says, I signed the petition. Yay! And Ashley Clare also says there's a local guy on Facebook that says we need to take a Xanax and calm down some. Well, everyone is entitled to their opinions, I suppose. All right, guys, that is all I have for this live stream today. Thank you for spending a little time with me on a Sunday. I'm a little undecided about whether or not I'm going to make Sunday live streams or weekend live streams like a regular thing. I think I probably will. I just don't know the logistics yet, but keep an eye out. I will be announcing it on my social media in the mornings if I'm going to do a live stream sometime that day. I just need to figure some stuff out. I'm going to try to get more consistent about this stuff so you guys know when to show up and that sort of thing. But I appreciate you spending some time with me. Have a great rest of your weekend and cheers to all of you. Life is good, guys. Never doubt it. All right. Have a great one, and I will see you guys soon.